back. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.
Good one. Good one. I like that one. There's got to be Who Let the Dogs Out later, right? Okay, I know. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but everybody loves that song. Yeah, it is Boomer Life on CL 650. I'm Zach Spencer. On Boomer Life today, we're talking about pets, pet health, especially dental care. We have Pampered Pets Ultrasonic. Rhonda Hebert is here, the founder of this business. And you have a unique business because you clean dogs and cats. You probably do more dogs than cats, but you clean their teeth with an ultrasonic system, but you don't have to sedate them. Now, this is a huge thing as a pet owner, because we hear these stories that too many sedations of an animal maybe isn't good for them.
Or they don't make it.
Really?
Oh, everyone has a story of a dog that didn't make it.
Well, and why would that be?
Because it's easy to overestimate the amount of sedation for a little tiny dog.
Right.
And little dogs under 10 pounds can't retain their own body heat. So they lose all their body heat and they have a hard time warming up. So sometimes the kidneys wake up, sometimes something else doesn't. Like it's just hard, especially on senior dogs, to be putting them through any kind of anesthetic.
But you are an interesting person because you have a level 2 dog paramedic certificate. What can you do as a level 2 dog paramedic?
I can get your hurt and injured dog to a veterinarian as fast as possible. I can dress a wound, I can pressurize, I can take femoral arteries, I can take the pulse from anywhere on the dog. I can get your dog stabilized and get it to a veterinarian as soon as possible.
And have you had to do that, save a dog's life?
I have.
What happened?
I had a dog that I thought was having a heart attack, and I raced it across town to my veterinarian, and it had an anxiety attack.
Oh.
But I thought I was driving on the four ways, and I was just, crazy. And, this dog is dying. And, I thought if I got pulled over, I'd get an escort kind of thing. I was all nervous. I was newly, my newly dog paramedic stuff. So, but it turned out really good. The dog had an anxiety attack. But you never know. It stopped breathing.
How would you know when a dog's having a heart attack?
It stops breathing.
That's basically it.
Yeah, and she stopped breathing, and I thought she's dying, so I just raced her to my vet, and he goes, "No, she had an anxiety attack."
Oh, well,
and
that's good though.
And that was after the teeth cleaning. It wasn't even before.
Oh, so it was a client's dog.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it was after.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So
as a owner of a business and the client's dog is there, that would be the worst thing.
Oh, that dog is my whole life. When someone drops off their precious little baby, to me, that dog is my whole life. I watch it from the minute it gets there to the minute it's done. Even dogs of mine that have to go for sedation, I go with them through their sedation, hold their little paw through it, help the veterinarian, advise the veterinarian what I saw, how I do it, and then I'm there when that little guy wakes up.
So are you the enemy of the vet, or you work closely with vets? I would imagine you're mowing their lawn a little bit when it comes to maintaining oral health for animals.
Some veterinarians who are progressive in thought are very on board with me because I will not do a dog that requires veterinary assistance. But they're worried about the ones that, the young 5-year-olds that can take a sedation and get a really good deep cleaning. Well, I can give it a really good deep cleaning without sedating it.
All right, now this is where I want to get to. How do you do it? Because I have a dog, and he's great so long as you're bribing him with a cookie. He'll sit there and be nice, but he loses attention and quickly. He's like a typical male dog.
Yeah.
Squirrel. Yeah. He's a terrier.
Yeah.
What? Cat? Squirrel? What?
Yeah.
So how do you do this? How long does it take? How do you get the dog in the frame of mind to do it? And how do you do it?
The first part, you would come in and I would give you a free consultation. I'd give you an overall view of the mouth and what the damage is and where the most space is and what's happening with the sometimes it creates bad spaces that can be corrected once the plaque and tartar are removed. So I show you everything, we go over everything, and then I give your dog a little bit of pet relaxant. And what's in the pet relaxant is a little bit of chamomile, St. John's wort, and valerian. It's just like a natural little homeopathic, like a mood stabilizer. Just gets them to calm down for a minute until I teach them their little doggy dental manners.
And how well does that work? The
All it does is just take the edge off. And once the parents leave, your dog turns into a completely different dog.
Well, yeah, I know that because I remember dropping my son off at kindergarten, and if he could see his mom, he would scream and yell oh, but can't leave him behind. Look at how upset he is. And then as soon as you walk around the corner, he goes and plays with his friends.
Yeah,
And so
exactly.
dogs are no
And
different.
dogs are exactly the same. So I work with them. I use pressure points. I use Tellington Touch, which is a sort of swaddle method. The strongest part of a dog is the back, like on the top where the just after the neck. It's called the withers,
Hmm.
like between the shoulder blades. That's a strong.
That's where their back goes up when they're angry or
Yes,
upset, right?
yes,
Yeah.
and that is the strongest part of a dog.
Really?
So I use their withers to help to do their teeth. I know it sounds complicated, but you have to know. You don't do it at home because you can injure yourself more than the dog because the dog will feel your insecurity and you'll get bitten.
Mm.
The dogs that I get, they feel my assuredness, and I flip them around. I do this. I do the pressure points. I do all this stuff. I do heart-to-heart bonding with them just to calm them down, to get their heart rate with mine, because dog heart rates are usually faster than people. So I get them calmed down. I pet them. I play with them. Tell them how much I love them, and then start going one tooth at a time until they're comfortable. And then by then we're zipping right along and we're done.
You're like the Canadian dog whisperer.
Yep. And the thing is, once a dog feels you're not going to hurt them with this new strange thing you're sticking in their mouth, plus you're sticking your hands in their mouth, like look at my hands. I have never been bitten, and I've been doing this for 5 years.
Hmm.
So the dogs tend to go, okay, she knows what she's doing. She's not hurting me. She's making me feel better. I'll just go with this.
And do you ever have a dog you say, I'm sorry, he's just not gonna, we're not gonna jive together?
I had one dog. It was a beagle, and it was 14 years old, and it was a rescue, and it had a heart cough, like a really deep
Yeah.
heart cough, and I knew that if I would have kept going with him, I would have given him great amounts of stress because of one, he was a rescue, and two, his age and his teeth were quite severe. So the dad elected to just let him sort of live out his life, and he was pulsed with antibiotics from his veterinarian because he
Mhm.
couldn't be sedated.
Right. Okay. Um, so you get the dog, and you get the dog. I'm sure is the lying position, right?
Yep.
And you get them calm, and
And I'm down right there. I'm
with them,
right there on the floor.
and you start prodding in their mouth, and just get them used to the fact that you're in there.
I do a little bit of that. Plus, I put some freezing or some gel. I put some gel on if their mouths are sore, and I can tell. Like if I see red, swollen gingival
Right.
tissue, I put stuff on there right away to make it feel better. And even that, the dog goes, "Oh, you're a god."
It feels better
'Cause it's
already.
instant. Dogs live in the minute. They only have a 5-second retention.
Yeah.
So they
That's what I tell my wife all the time. You're stressing out too much. The dog isn't going to remember.
It doesn't. It doesn't remember. And like your wife doing with the little finger thing, that's a wonderful thing once you get the plaque cleaned off and
Yeah.
once you get those canines clean because you don't want to lose those canines because they hold in the tongue. Otherwise,
Ah.
your dog's tongue is lopping all over the
yeah.
place.
It's like the rails for the rail car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, okay, you've got the dog down. You're down there with the dog. You've got the gel on. Now, what do you put in there, and how does it work?
In the dog's mouth?
No, like the ultrasonic thing. How does it work?
Oh, it's just like how to best describe
Does it pulse? Does it make noise?
It's ultrasonic. It makes a small noise. It makes like when we get our teeth cleaned. It's the exact same process. If I went in and I cleaned my teeth, they floss, they polish, they do the whole thing. That's exactly what I do for your dog.
But when I go in to get my teeth cleaned, they've got that thing that goes zzz, the
That's
little,
exactly what happens.
That's that what happens?
That's
Yeah.
exactly what happens. And the dogs get used to it. At first, some of them, it kind of rattles them a little bit until they understand that it's not going to hurt, and then they just settle right down. Other ones just lie there and say, go right ahead.
And so, what is the ultrasonic part that's cleaning the teeth versus just getting in there and scaling like the dentist would, or maybe a vet would?
It's the pressure of the water coming through the ultrasonic. The ultrasonic vibrations and the water basically power wash the teeth.
Hmm.
And I use suction, of course, at all times.
To get rid of the water.
Yep.
And,
the
I
plaque.
have sensitive teeth,
Yeah.
right? And when I go to the dentist and they squirt that cold water on my teeth, I just jump out of the chair.
Yeah.
So you must have dogs that have this as well. So what do you use? It warm water?
Dogs don't have that kind of sensitivity
They
to
don't,
hot
huh?
and cold, but I always make sure my water's room temperature
Mm-hmm.
so that they don't have that, because if a dog did have that, I'd notice because they would jump. But dogs generally don't have sensitivity to hot and cold. It's more pressure they have sensitivity to. So I sometimes let them bite down so I can see where they're having a problem, and then I can go look in that area. And then I refer them to the veterinarian, especially with the molars, if there's any kind of removal that needs to be done, because I don't remove teeth.
So when my dog comes in and I have an appointment and I getting the teeth cleaned, how long from beginning to end?
Anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours. I've had, I bet you 5 out of 10 people come in and say, "You'll never get into my dog's mouth. My dog is just pure evil." And then by the time they finish that sentence, that dog's on its back and I'm half done.
Really?
Yep.
You are the dog whisperer.
Yep, and they can't believe it. They can't believe it. Chocolates, flowers, they're like, I can't believe you did it.
Dinner out.
Yeah, I can't believe you did it. And then they go home with this nice smelling dog that they haven't been able to let on the couch for a year.
There's nothing worse than a dog coming up in your face and they'd be like, oh.
And it's ferocious. That gas.
Ugh.
Oh, that anaerobic gas is
Now,
just...
is it just me, or is it dogs that have that awful smell in their mouth also have a gas issue at the other end? Is that true?
Well, just think of what they're swallowing.
Yeah.
They're swallowing little pieces of that break off. They're swallowing the gases from it. They're swallowing all of the fragments. They're swallowing all of it.
Now, does the dog instantly feel better?
Instantly. Because pressure, like if you have calculus, it pushes up against the dog's tooth and it reduces the amount of enamel. The enamel pushes up to the dog's tooth and pushes the gingiva tissue up. So I release that gingiva tissue and the pressure's gone.
Okay, little trivia here. In a normal adult dog, how many teeth do they have? Now, this is obvious answer coming from you, but what is the answer? Is it 24 teeth, 38 teeth, 42 teeth, or 32 teeth for an adult dog?
All dogs have 42 teeth, whether they're all crammed into a tiny Chihuahua or into a Great Dane. All dogs have 42 teeth. And depending on the mixes right now, if you mix certain dogs, big dogs with little dogs, you can get a little dog that has great big teeth. Because
Really?
this guy has big teeth.
Oh.
So you try to keep your mixes about the same size so they get the same kind of teeth. The most common dog I see is a Chihuahua.
Really?
Lots
Why is
and
that?
lots. Because the 42 teeth jammed in that tiny little mouth.
What's the most popular breed right now, do you think? It's got something doodle in it, I'm sure.
Labradoodles.
I see doodles all the time.
Labradoodles, because labs are the best dog companions. You know,
Says somebody who owns labs.
I bought them for my boys. I bought 2 of them because they're just such great companions, and they do what you want to do.
But you know why the doodles become so popular? Because you get the affectionate lab without the shedding.
No, you get poodle fur, and you got to get it groomed every 6 weeks.
Yes, you got to get it groomed.
And to groom one of those great big dogs is at least $1.25.
But that's what you provide that service too, right?
I don't anymore. My best friend Barb has
Oh,
taken
she
over
does
the
it.
grooming salon,
But-
and I do the teeth. But yes, we do provide that service.
Okay, true or false? Dogs can only see in black and white. What do you think?
Well, if dogs could only see in black and white, they wouldn't be able to notice your car or your clothing. I have a certain coat. If I put on this certain coat and it's a yellow coat, they know I'm going to work. So I know that that's false.
Yeah, it is false because I was watching a show recently and they showed that dogs, depending on the length of their snout, dogs that have long snouts have vision for distance. So you
Yes.
see that with sight hounds, like
Yes.
a greyhound or a whippet or something like that. And dogs with short snouts only can see close up.
Well, and that's one of the most common dogs is a Shih Tzu. They always laugh because everybody has a Shih Tzu. Shih Tzus are very common and they're very popular, and they have those little bulgy, cute little eyes. They don't see that far. They're like 2-3 feet in front of them or something. I know they don't have the greatest span because their eyes are not as inset and
So
they don't
you-
have peripheral vision.
You take a Shih Tzu and you show it to a pug because that's a face only a Shih Tzu could love or see.
Yes, basically. And they're both like working on bowling balls because they have really round heads, and it's trying to get a cranial hold on a pug or on a Shih Tzu is really difficult because it's like holding onto a bowling ball.
Our neighbors have bulldogs and they're like 2 sausages.
Yes.
They're just round.
Yes. And they have a tendency to want to eat bulldogs. If they're not, they get bored easily, and they get bored and they want to eat.
Yeah, like dining room table legs, things
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
Yeah, the inexpensive stuff.
They're meant to work. They like to walk and do their job.
All right, we're talking about Pampered Pets Ultrasonic, and the website is pamperedpetsultrasonic.com. And Rhonda Hebert is here talking about the fantastic work that you do. And what's the phone number quickly?
604-591-5020.
One more.
604-591-5020.
So we're talking about pets on the Boomer Show, and we'll continue our conversation next on CL 650.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.